So I started reading comic books back around 2008, 2009, right when the Dark Knight films came out. And then I didn't officially start collecting until about 2011, 2012, when I actually considered a comic book more than just a hobby. My love for comic books came from a lot of places, actually. So for instance, my dad took me and my brother to see The Dark Knight in 2008, and I loved watching Batman, had never seen a superhero film in my life, and immediately I wanted to know more about his character, about the mythos. And at the same time, actually, when I was in 5th grade, my best friend at the time was super into comic books, and Batman specifically. And I remember one trip to Jekyll Island we stopped at a convenience store, and they never had these anymore, but they had a spinner rack of comic books at this little gas station we stopped at, and he picked a couple of Batman comic books, and we both read them on the way to Jekyll Island. I think there's a big difference in how comics are made and produced now as opposed to back in the early days, the 1930s, 40s, 50s. For instance, back in the Golden Age and the Silver Age, comic book stories were pretty much standalone, and the heroes would kind of have just very simple adventures that didn't really matter, kind of contribute to the overall universe, whereas now, especially in the superhero universes, writers and artists can be on series for long stretches of time, and they'll have large runs that have payoff years down the road. The storytelling is much more intricate, much more complex. An advantage that comic books have over other mediums would be the fact that the reader gets to dictate the pace and control of the storytelling. And it seems kind of obvious in the fact that obviously you're physically turning the page and you can flip back and forth and you're reading the space between the panels, and you'd say, oh, well, you can do that with a picture book, but not necessarily. With a comic book, you're almost the director. You're in control of what you're reading. You see it visually first and foremost, and every page turn is its own reveal. My favorite comic book character of all time would have to be Superman. He was created first. He is the archetype for all other heroes. You can't beat him. He never gives in. You can't destroy him. And I love the aspect, the duality of Superman. You have Clark Kent, and everyone is Clark Kent. Everyone is undiscovered, just hiding in the shadows, waiting to play the hero, and then out of nowhere, shoots lasers from his eyes, and has frost breath, and super speed and strength. And I think all of us want to be Superman. I think we can all see ourselves in the characters and that duality, that dichotomy of Clark Kent and Superman. And because of that, I relate to him, and I believe that many people can relate to him and want to be Superman.